respond to a comment in this video. And really, are you somebody out there who might have the illusion or still be in enough codependent denial, even if you realize you have codependency, that you think that maybe you don't have to end the relationship with the person with BPD if they haven't ghosted or discarded you, that you think you can go to therapy, your own therapy, and they can go to their own therapy, and that there's some magical way that this person with BPD in your life, whatever relationship type, who hasn't been able to understand a boundary so far and can't really cope with them and pushes back against and tests and challenges your boundaries, and everything you try to say, as if you're ever heard, about how you feel and what you need. Do you think like there's a way that you can help the person with BPD with that who's untreated, so you can somehow stay together, and then each of you goes to therapy and you're making the process, you're trying as the codependent to figure out ways, as the commenter will say that I don't cover, unfortunately, on this channel, because I don't know what they'd be, but to figure out ways where you can go ahead and stay in that relationship with that person with BPD. So stay in the betrayal bond and just keep going through the chaos of the roller coaster, etc. But somehow you're going to set magical boundaries, and they're going to all of a sudden get it, and you're going to be able to communicate in a way that just kind of like makes them get triggered less and understand more suddenly, magically, or something. So, yeah, that's what this is about. And really, the answer, I think most people understand, but maybe you're not ready to follow through in action yet for yourself, because it's very difficult and painful. But people can't. An untreated person with BPD and a codependent who've been in a relationship, and if it's a more needy, clingy type person with BPD, maybe they're not going to go anywhere. But the thing is, you can't just think that you can set out on your own healing recovery journeys of therapy and make it work, because it's already not working. So what do you think about that? And just before I get into this, if you enjoy my work or help by it, resonate with me, and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified of all uploads, and please remember to hit that like button. It really helps this channel in the algorithm. Comment was left on the video did, can't break up with a borderline, need it to make sense. Person said, I've watched dozens of your clips. Some are clips and some are actual real videos, like, you know what I mean? They're long and all that. And I'm completely okay with the idea. It's hard. It's a hard process they need to do on their own. But there's a thing I haven't found related to what we can do without being or becoming more codependent. Conner says, yes, I understand that they require therapy and everything that comes along. I'm aware that it might be a never-ending story with a lot of ups and downs. But the thing you haven't covered, what? There's something I haven't covered? No, I'm sure there is, but I don't think this is it, okay? So anyway, there's something you haven't covered is what we can do along the process to help them out. Why wouldn't I have really highlighted and focused on that? I don't know, because you really can't help them out, okay? So especially if they're like not in efficacious treatment, what can we do along that process to help them out? And then the commenter says, I mean, not them. It's already a Freudian slip, right? I mean, not them, but to make the whole, they're missing so many words in this, to make the whole process a bit easier for both sides. Well, right there, probably know what I'm going to say, right, if you watch my videos, because that's codependent. This person is saying, well, I kind of understand this and that about this and that, you know, with to do with somebody with BPD without saying it. And then they said, but how can we help? Oh, no, maybe not them. How can we help to make, so in other words, control the whole process, whether the borderline gets therapy, you get therapy. How can you just kind of control all of that so that it makes it easier for both of you? Well, number one, I'd like to just point out, with all due respect to the commenter, that's a very codependent way of thinking, in that it is codependent, what this person is suggesting. How can we just make it better for both people in the process? First of all, if you're codependent and you've been in a relationship with somebody with BPD, whether that's on, off, still happening, recycling, or you've been ghosted, discarded, and wherever you're at with that, the relationship isn't going on, or to the best of your knowledge right now, or whatever's happening. Even with all of that said, the other thing that I would have to say is that this process isn't about both sides. Nor is it going to be an easy process for anybody with BPD to go to therapy, or for people with codependency or exes of those with BPD, with likely childhood woundedness and why codependency exists in people's lives. Not going to be easy. And how can you make it easier? You can't. And you can't compare your process as an ex or the non-borderline to the person with BPD. Please don't allow yourself to be in that denial place that you're somehow this person, your partner, your sister, your mother, your friend, is going to go and get therapy, and you're going to go and get therapy. You want to make this process easier, codependent does, for both people. Why? Because you think you're coming back together later? This is another thing. Just not rational, logical thought for what you've been through, for what you need to heal, and for the fact that it takes people with BPD, if they're really going to get serious, get through to healing and recovery, where they can really have healthy relationships, mutual reciprocity, respect themselves, respect others, etc. For people with BPD, it takes 16 years, not 2 years of DBT. Keep that in mind. And then the commenter continues, how to put boundaries in a way, this is what I haven't covered, I guess. How to put boundaries in a way they can understand. You can't do that. People with codependency have a lot of their own control needs and issues. So I'm not saying this person like it means you're a control freak or anything, but a lot of that control can be like on an unconscious level for people with codependency. But how to put boundaries in a way they can understand, how to express feelings in a manner that might trigger at least some sense to them, and so on. Well, commenter, anybody relates to this, I haven't covered it because it doesn't exist. Because what you're putting forth is codependent, and maybe on an unconscious level for you about what you would like to control and how you would like it to be. But there's no way to set boundaries that you can get an untreated person with BPD to necessarily in any consistent way, if at all, go along with. And there isn't really a way so that they can understand your boundaries. Well, no, people with BPD untreated don't understand people's boundaries. It's a big reason why these relationships are so painful, chaotic, dramatic, frustrating, roller coaster, on, off, etc. How to express feelings that might trigger at least some sense in them, to them, and so on. See? Still somebody wanting to clean up after the person with BPD. Still somebody wanting to rescue the person with BPD. Do you see how subtle that is? Do you see how unconscious and how that could be part of what's happening for you still, like the commenter, and you might not realize it? Something to think about, because you can't express feelings in a manner that might trigger at least some sense to them, and so on. No. Still trying to change the person with BPD. It's still trying to control what's happening. It's still trying to make a relationship work that doesn't work. It's still trying to ram a round peg in a square hole. So I haven't covered it, commenter, because there's no efficacy to talking about that with people in these circumstances and relationships. Because where you're coming from, you might be somewhat aware and you might be not denying your codependency, but you seem to still not have clearly broken up from someone and understand that now you're two separate people and you each have different processes to undergo, and there's going to be no magical coming back together. And then the commenter says, I've got a feeling that in case you're codependent and you work on your, quote, issues, unquote, you will eventually end the relationship with the BPD, and if you don't, you're still codependent, regardless if they are treated, aware, or untreated, unaware. Yes, because whatever's happening with the person with BPD in anybody's life, what you're doing to help yourself as a person with codependency to heal or not has nothing to do with them. So are you talking about their awareness? Yeah, whether they're treated aware or untreated unaware. Well, what about where's your awareness and anyone who can relate to this, where's your awareness about your codependency? Where's your awareness that the whole idea about, and it should be with going no contact, but the whole idea of what I don't cover, says the commenter, here's what I do cover. Everything opposite to what you're saying. Why don't I cover this? Because it's not efficacious, it's not responsible information to be giving to people, because you need to realize this relationship is over, or you need to make it over, and you need to go no contact in order for you to heal. Take your healing recovery journey to heal from codependency in the relationship and what's wounded you in childhood, and let that person with BPD go. And you're saying here that you have this feeling, you have the correct feeling, you just need to process that some more, and how are you thinking about it? Then in case you're codependent and you work on your quote issues, unquote, you will eventually end the relationship with the borderline. And if you don't, you're still codependent regardless. Well, yes. And there'll still be toxic, unhealthy dynamics, and you still will be ensconced in an unbroken betrayal bond. Because you're intimating or inferring by the last paragraph in your comment that, if we go ahead and do this work on codependency or the issues, as you said, then people will leave people with BPD if they haven't ghosted or discarded you. Yeah, that's right. Because that's the goal, is to get out of dysfunctional, betrayal bonded relationships. And to what you think I haven't covered, commenter, there's too many people. I have to be very vague out here. I'm not that vague, but I don't think. But a lot of people that are watching videos on this channel, maybe watching videos and things everywhere, it's very difficult to talk about how you could, because you can't really help a person with BPD. You gotta help yourself now. But the thing is, you can't make the boundaries understood by them. You can't get them to do this, that, or the other thing. You can't make the process easier for the two of you, because, first of all, it should be a separate process. So I think that you've inferred here that you're still in the relationship with the borderline, but that you want to make this process easier. You expect the borderline to change somehow, to adapt to your expression of feelings, which would be lovely, right? But won't happen when they're untreated. And you want them to respect your boundaries, because it sounds like maybe they're thinking of getting therapy, and you're going to get therapy. If you really deal with your codependent issues, it sounds like there's a fear there that then you'll end the relationship. The relationship needs to end, and the reason why I don't cover what you say I don't cover is because that's all within the territory of codependency and trying to make impossible relationships work. That's not what I'm here to cover. So let's just go back and review something here. The commenter said, yes, I understand that they require therapy and everything that comes along. I'm aware that it might be a never-ending story with lots of ups and downs. Yes, this person's all in, right? They're all in. They're like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this together, but I need you to do this, and I need you to do that, and then I'm going to get my therapy, and you're going to get your therapy. It doesn't work. You can try it. Does it work? Because when a person with BPD starts at ground zero in their healing recovery journey of therapy, 8 to 16 years, and often it's 10 to 12 to 14, closer to 16 than 8 years. And for a codependent who does this in earnest, if you've broken up with the borderline, it can be, like, if that's actually, BPD breakup ended, like over, done, and now you're processing, then people with codependency can expect to be much better within a year to 18 months or so. For some people, maybe 2 years. But that's not going to happen for anybody with codependency who's still in a relationship with a person with BPD. And if you try that, you're going to find out as the person with BPD goes to therapy and starts, and you got to make sure, but is this your job? Is this your responsibility? But many people with BPD don't go to treatment modalities that are the best for BPD. They'll just go talk to a therapist who may or may not know anything about BPD, and they won't be working on the things that the modalities for BPD healing and recovery really focus on. So that could waste a lot of time. And I don't cover this because nowhere in anything I've ever said in 28 and a half years online have I ever said, yeah, you know what? You as the partner with the person with BPD and you have codependency and they're going to go to treatment, okay, and you're going to go to treatment and you're somehow magically going to get them to hear your boundaries and agree with them. And then you're magically going to be able to explain your feelings more so that they will be acting like different, better, helping the relationship to work. Under those circumstances, I would almost say there's no sense in either of you going to therapy, because if that's what you're going to do, you're going to keep dysfunctioning, and what's going to come to a head then is that you or the borderline will leave therapy, and you will keep, in the meantime and after, relating to each other in the same betrayal, bonded, dysfunctional, unhealthy way that you've been relating to each other, with each other, or at each other throughout the relationship.